Allahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're doing well. So, since Charlie Kirk is getting a lot of money from Republican friends, even though he's rich, his woman now, his widow, she's a single mom with children, right? And you see the Republicans saying she should want for nothing. Even Andrew Tate said he wants to donate money to her so she never has to want again. So I thought I'd cover how Republicans cut a lot of programs for needy moms, okay? And the kind of hypocrisy of the rich helping the rich, while the wealthy politicians cut programs for the common person. So let's examine. Congressional Republicans are cutting food assistance for hungry children. SNAP provides food assistance to people in near poverty, nearly 62% of whom are in families with children. In total, 1 in every 5 children receive SNAP benefits, which help keep them fed when their families would otherwise struggle to put food on the table. These benefits not only enable stable, sufficient access to food, which ensures kids grow up healthier, but also free up space in household budgets to allow low-income families to pay for the other critical expenses, such as childcare and housing. So here, you see that there's a lot of children in poverty in America. Okay? But there is a problem when the big beautiful bill of Trump, he calls it that, decides to cut things, right? So 4 million plus number of children at risk of receiving reduced benefits under congressional Republicans' proposal to expand burdensome paperwork requirements. Here you can see cuts to SNAP benefits and eligibility could also come at the state level, as the proponents of these proposals eye options to push program costs onto states, many of which cannot afford to take tens or hundreds of millions of dollars in new spending each year, particularly during recessions when benefits are needed most. These attacks on SNAP would overwhelmingly harm children, especially children of color, by increasing food insecurity and families' ability to afford other basic needs such as housing, utilities, and basic goods. So you see here as well the big beautiful bill. Now you can also look up several things about this bill, but it is pretty intense how much it cuts. Okay, it says on May 22, House Republicans passed H.R. 1, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which included historic cuts to health care and food assistance, as well as eligibility changes to the child tax credit and Pell Grants that would affect children nationwide, all to fund tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans, with the Senate currently considering its own extreme addition to the House text. So here, you can definitely see that Trump has not done a whole lot to help inflation, to make housing, college better, and I just found it. I want the children don't deserve to suffer for what their dad preached about, or for the actions of the assassin. But he's already rich. So I just found it odd how Republicans in general, they cut programs for the common person and say, get off your ass, go work. They make tons of videos slandering people for using food programs. But then they are giving a lot of money to someone who's already wealthy while cutting programs and advocating to cut programs for children in America. Okay? And so I found that to be quite sad. You can say that Tate reposted his brother, which means they both agree to give money to Charlie Kirk's widow, even though she's already rich. And it's interesting, he has a line here that says about wealthy Republicans. So, wealthy Republicans will fund another rich Republican widow, yet they cut programs for the common poor Republican woman. So think about that. They are the party that cuts the most food stamps. They cut Medicaid, Social Security, all kinds of stuff to help the poor. This is just a fact. They think you need to mount up and pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And they want to shrink government. So they don't really want to expand those tax programs. They call it socialism and communism. And so, something to think about. Also something to think about that Tate would give money to a family that pretty much hated Islam. So, some to ponder upon, especially as so many Muslim women live in poverty. Just wanted to make sure you got to see. A lot of different journalists have spoken about what is included in Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act. And, as I said earlier, 186 billion in cuts to the food program. Okay? It is the largest in U.S. history. So, a Republican who claims to be a Christian has reduced food for kids. Okay? And that means that the school lunch programs are going to have some trouble here. And it says here that could even be up to 18 million children nationwide who could lose access to free meals. Okay, so in America, we don't really value kids eating that much at school or having access to healthy food. It's really something to think about, especially when you see these right-wingers who have wealth funneling in it to the Kirk family who has money, while they advocate for programs to be cut for the common person. Okay? It's really quite sad, and I do wonder how some people can live with themselves. Here are some key wealthy Republicans who have confirmed that it's been donated to the widow of Kirk. We got Bill Ackman, hedge fund guy, got a lot of cash, billionaire, okay? We got Doug Deason, an oil Republican. Tucker Carlson, Kyle Juskic, and Kristen Juskic. I can't pronounce that. I ain't Polish. And, you know, it's quite interesting how people are really eager to help a single mom in that situation. But if there was a widow who her husband got cancer and died, got hit by a car, you know, a lot of these Matt Walsh types, Ben Shapiro, would be like, no, she needs to go work, 60 hours a week. She needs to not be a welfare queen. And she needs to go out there, put her kids in daycare, and that's it. So, it's interesting, really is, especially someone like her who has a family that's intact. Whereas the common American, they don't really have a lot of family options because so many people have broken families now. But the upper class, they all seem to have their own little separate network. It's almost like a caste system. So, in America, we have a lot of single moms, okay? Here, we note that, 30 to 40% of those women, they live in poverty, okay? So, it's something to think about. Here, you can notice that in 2023, the poverty rate for single moms is 32%. Alright? Here we go. Here we see we have in America between 7 and 13 million single moms. Quite intense. Here we see, as I pointed out earlier, that the Democratic Party, they're the ones who really push a lot of welfare programs, and this makes a lot of people upset on the Republican side. And so, it's, again, fascinating watching the fallout from the Kirk situation unfold and how so many people, they bend their philosophy, their ethics, their politics for their friends. So, rules for thee, but not for me. Hey, you poor women in America, you're garbage, you don't deserve nothing, go out and do this and that. But hey, when one of our rich friends has an issue, we come together. So this kind of hints at a lot of class warfare, which I didn't really think about too much before. But really, I'm starting to think about it more and more. How a lot of the wealthy people stick together and how they just are in a different bubble. Right? What do you think? He, since he's a Muslim, should be giving zakah, sadaqah, good money, charity to the believers. He should invest in Afghanistan because they're actually implementing the Sharia, and he should focus on that and help earn good deeds by helping needy believers. Helping people who are already rich is not the same as helping people who actually need it.